So what is one bold prediction for the NFL season?
Yeah.
But before that, I should have said this one. This one was one of the ones I thought about. Kyler Murray will not play it down this season. He has a $95 million injury clause in his contract. If he gets injured, he gets $95 million. He's not going to play it down this whole season, I don't think. I'd be very surprised.
Oh, you're saying because the Cardinals don't want to risk that.
They don't want to risk that $95 million, but I think he's going to be on the bench. But I'll go with mine first. I said that Russell Wilson would be benched this season. I guess it might not
see the
be,
comment that I put at the
it might not be too bold. Why not? Everybody literally is talking about the Broncos and how everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid like they were last year. Or they're drinking the horchata or whatever the hell you want to call it, but they're drinking it thinking, oh my God, like Sean Payton is this messiah. He's going to come in and help them. Remember,
that's fair.
Russell Wilson's not Drew Brees. Drew Brees was young. He was only like 26, 27 when he came over from the Chargers. He helped a lot of what he was doing, and then they kind of grew up together. Here, Russell Wilson doesn't know Sean Payton. Sean Payton doesn't know Russell Wilson. You've seen kind of the stuff that's been going on. Tim Patrick is now out. Jerry Jeudy's out for a while. That's going to hurt for a couple of weeks. And then can they get it all down? Can they have a running game? Their offensive line, to me, they spent all that money. That offensive line doesn't look good to me. McGlinchey, I wasn't a fan of his even when he was with.
He's already been hurt too.
Nope.
Yeah, and he's hurt too. So and then Garrett Bowles always gets hurt for them at left tackle. So I'm just not a fan of the Broncos. I think their defense is good, but I think their defense has holes. Randy Gregory, I'm not a fan of. Frank Clark was good on the Chiefs. Can he be good here? Like, it's just a lot of question marks.
He only shows up for the playoffs. Remember, Frank Clark only shows up for the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
Playoff
so
Frankie,
I think Russell Wilson at one point gets benched, and questions start arising about Sean Payton as the head coach.
I was gonna save this question, but I never got to it. So does that mean that Russell Wilson will get the Derek Carr treatment that the Raiders gave him, where they bench him so they don't have to pay him? Because he's due a bonus. Yeah. I think by like either the day after the Super Bowl or sometime, I forget. So they would need to make sure that he doesn't get injured. Kind of like what you just said about
Kyler Murray. And then I think he has to play more than 75% of the. He has to play like a certain percentage of the snaps. So I could see them benching him for that reason also. But then especially if halfway through the year they're already out of it, they're going to be like, you know what?
Here's the part though for Russell Wilson is like the contract is so massive that they can't even get out of it next year. Like the only way you could do is by trading him. And how can you trade a guy who's on the bench with no value? So
that's what my question is. Like, what happens if they get the first pick overall in the draft? Would they really go Marvin Harrison Jr. and say, hey, with this guy we could fix Russell Wilson? Or are they going to go, hey, Caleb Williams is that guy, let's bring him in?
No, you give somebody a third round pick to take on that contract and get out of here or something like that. Or
I think the biggest thing is twofold right there. Number one, it's not Sean Payton's quarterback. I think he's going to look to unload him 100% as soon as he can. I think the other thing that I would say,
he wanted, he would have kept his office in there. He would have done stuff like he came in and he said, no office. Your entourage cannot come in here whenever they want.
Yeah,
you need to keep these guys out of here.
So I think that's a huge thing. It's not his quarterback. And the other thing that I think is a question that should arise if the Broncos don't make the playoffs or they're not very good. You know, George Patton's still the GM, right?
Yeah.
George Patton should be on the hot seat after that. Not only was, the trade terrible, because I think the Seahawks clearly won it. Then you give this guy a quarterback in his 30s who hasn't looked really good, a ridiculous contract. There's no way questions don't arise about George Patton. I know supposedly everybody in the league is all hot and bothered because they like him and this and that. But I mean, he's tanking the Broncos almost single-handedly right now.
Yeah, but let's see.
Three. Just crank the future up.
Mine, it's not pretty bold just because we've seen what's happened with the 49ers quarterbacks, but I'm going to say that Sam Darnold will be the playoff quarterback when they get into the playoffs. Just
That's
because
bold enough.
Yeah, so
Fernando, he said that before too.
Yeah, no, I'm not taking it away from him though. I'm saying, like, I've said that too. Like, I think Sam Darnold at one point is going to be able to let it. Can you imagine if Sam Darnold gets in here and shuts all the haters up with that receiving crew? He should be able to. So I agree with Vic on that one.
He's what is he? The best passer in 49ers history? What did one reporter say?
The best arm talent he's ever had or something.
I don't think you're gonna like this one, but Dan and Daygo, go with yours.
I think one of my bold predictions is Dorian Thompson-Robinson will start at some point for the Browns. I think Deshaun Watson half of the season last year didn't show much. I think I think he's played all 3 preseason games. No,
nothing.
Dorian?
No,
Watson. Watson played the last one. He played the last one.
Okay.
It was a couple
way, I don't think they're completely sold. I think they're playing him because they have to at this point. And here's another one I just thought of right now. Here's a bold prediction. Here's a bold prediction.
2.0.
I think Stetson Bennett or whoever the backup is for the Rams is going to end up playing at some point too.
Really? Oh, that's gonna be terrible for the Rams.
I think the Rams, their first pick they got was a second round, right? And they drafted an offensive lineman, if I'm not mistaken, my house of horn fellows.
Steve,
I think one of the main reasons I'm gonna say is this. If that offensive line is as bad as it was last year, where you have a bunch of bag boys and Home Depot workers in there, Matthew Stafford's gonna have to look around and say, "Hey, dude, is this really worth putting my body through again?" Or he could clearly get hurt again. So I think it's gonna be a long season for them. So those are my 2 bold predictions right there, dealing with quarterbacks.
Yeah,
I like it. I'm up for the DTR taking over in Cleveland because that is like the only way you can bring back the entire fan base in Cleveland is a new quarterback.
Yeah, because
the craziness is too, all they have is Amari Cooper, in my opinion. Like the other receivers,
Elijah Moore.
I tell you, Donovan Peoples Jones now.
Oh no.
No, not a
Njoku. I kind of like Njoku a little bit, but he gets hurt.
It's a lot of guys who are very inconsistent but talented. It's weird.
Yeah. Then do they still have Higgins, or did Higgins leave?
Which Higgins?
Don't they have a Higgins?
T. Higgins? That's Bengals.
Oh,
close
my
enough.
bad.
they have a Donovan Peoples Jones.
That's what I said. Yeah, Donovan Peoples Jones. Every time I think of that guy, I think of Jim Jones for whatever reason. Freaking weirdo out there in Guyana. Yeah. You're thinking of Koresh.
My turn, right?
Yeah.
You say Koresh?
I said you're thinking of Koresh. You said there's women in
here, brother.
That was Waco.
No, but I'm saying.
By the way, fun fact.
Ballin'.
One of the coaches on staff, he was a former certain agent. I won't say of what. He was at Waco, which was pretty wild. He was on the perimeter of Waco. Yeah.
Oh, so he was there with Koresh?
Yeah, we were talking about it a little bit. Huh?
Oh,
I didn't even hear what you said. No, he didn't storm the building.
Minions.
No, he didn't storm the building. That was before he was on the SWAT.
I was talking about one of his minions.
The videos.
I was talking about. I thought he was one of Koresh. I was joking. I said he's one of Koresh's minions.
You're an idiot.
Okay, Gilbert, go ahead.
I think he was joking, but
I was joking.
Yeah, he wasn't part of the cult.
Look at that. You're about to get fired. Oh, damn. I used the wrong finger.
I don't even know if mine is good. By the way, now that I'm listening to you, Fernando, a really good one would have been like Sean Payton doesn't coach as many games as Nathaniel Hackett did for the Broncos.
Oh,
like he's gone after 10 games.
I don't think you can do that to Sean McVay.
Yeah, I know.
I'd be surprised.
Yeah, Sean Payton I think will be around for a couple years because they gave up a first round pick for the guy.
Yeah,
so they have to.
But with George Pickens, by the way, because going off of Kenny Pickett, I'm like, if Kenny Pickett could sling the rock like that, George Pickens gonna have a big year, I feel like. And I think he was stuck behind the Steelers' terrible offensive line and terrible down the field quarterback from Kenny Pickett. So now that I see that, so I'm gonna say this: I think George Pickens will have a better season than Chris Olave, who, again, I didn't drink that much Kool-Aid because Chris Olave was right in front of me for Saints scrimmage, and he was, putting on a show in terms of one-on-one. Remember that, Fernando? So he burned some people in one-on-one coverage, and he's really fast. I think Olave is a really good receiver, but I think it might be Garrett Wilson from that 2022 class, George Pickens, and then Olave. I don't know. That's bold. Is it out there? I don't know.
Didn't you listen to David Carr? Derek is going to probably have another MVP year and light it up. And
Olave's going to be the offensive player of the year, apparently.
Total Access decided to keep him, and all he's going to do is just freaking cheerlead his brother.
I'm surprised the Raiders didn't retire 4, honestly.
They got another 4.
Yeah, they gave it to a new guy.
Right away. That tells you what they thought about Carr, dude.